Hey, it's Joel. Boy, I'm excited. I've got some really cool stuff to show you, but first, welcome to 3D Printing Nerd Studios, proudly powered by PCBWay. 8% off, link in that description. Say hi to Elaine. Hi, Elaine. Anycubic sent over the new Photon P1 for a first look, but before we talk about the 14K screen, we have to talk about the box. I've had printers show up looking like they were the loser in a 1 versus 100 gorillas fight. But this, pristine. Anycubic clearly isn't playing around with the packaging, which is good because there is a lot of high-res glass inside this thing. As for the setup, man, it was easy. Sometimes these pro machines feel like you're building a Lego set with missing instructions, but this was basically take it out, plug it in, and go. I went from opening the lid to being leveled and ready for resin in no time. It feels like a tool that's ready to work, not a weekend project that I have to finish building. All right, so what's actually under the hood? Beyond the sleek frame, there are 5 things that really sort of stand out to me. And first up is the dual VATS system. It's a really interesting idea. I love seeing Anycubic taking chances and trying something different with the workflow here. I can see this being huge for people who constantly jump between standard resin for minis and maybe a tough ABS. For like functional stuff, it's quirky, it's fresh. I don't know, it's just neat to see a company kind of experiment like this. Then there's the big one, that 14K resolution screen. Look, this screen is so sharp, it makes an 8K TV look like it's streaming over a dial-up connection in 1996. It's basically the retina display of the 3D printing world. For the garage dwellers and basement makers, myself included, the built-in VAT heater is literally a lifesaver, especially for those of us living in the Seattle area, where winter can mean your hobby space feels cold and gray. Resin is incredibly picky. It hates the cold. Having that heater built in means the machine handles the environment for you, so you get consistent prints even when it's really cold outside. They've also added wave release technology to help the build plate lift without that terrifying thunk of the suction we all hate. It means faster prints, way fewer pancakes stuck to the bottom of your vat. And finally, let's talk about noise, or really the lack of it. This thing is remarkably quiet. We've all been in that situation where the resin printer sounds like a small jet engine taking off in your office. But the P1 is surprisingly stealthy. It's quiet enough that you can have a print running and still hear your My Little Pony cartoons perfectly. With the specs out of the way, it was time to move some resin. I wanted to see what Anycubic considered a safe bet for a first run, so I grabbed the classic funnel file from the internal memory. If the test file from the factory fails, you know you've got a problem, but this was spot on. I was actually surprised to see some clever internal geometry designed to channel the fluid faster. It's a clean, functional print that gave me the green light to move on to the actual 14K eye candy. Next up, I went back to the internal memory for something a bit different, the drip tray. Now, I have absolutely no idea what this is actually a drip tray for. Is it for a specific tool? Is it a very, very small industrial looking taco holder? Nobody knows.
Nobody knows.
But as a test, it was actually great. The supports were everywhere on this thing, but by taking my time, they came off easily without a struggle. It's a weirdly perfect print for an object that currently has no purpose in my life, but it proves the machine handles those large, flat surfaces and dense support structures like a champ. Okay, let's get to the actual eye candy. Me! Or, well, at least a version of me. I loaded up Geomancer Joel from Broken Anvil Miniatures to see what that 14K screen could really do. The detail on the body is just stunning. We're talking muscle definition and skin textures that look incredible. I mean, it's almost eerie how much it looks exactly like me. This is where you really start to see the difference. The supports came off so easily, leaving all of that crisp detail completely intact. Now, the model has 2 different left-hand options, and I printed them both. The one with the staff is a great test for Z-axis stability. It came out perfectly straight, no warping at all. The second hand is casting a spell, and even though it's super tiny, it came out looking great as well. The spell itself turns into a massive high-five rock hand. The stone texture is just fantastic. The base is perfectly flat, and the cleanup was effortless. Then we have the Iron Giant by Photon Mint. I printed the body at a size that takes up most of the build plate. and I relied on automatic supports for this one. They held up perfectly under the weight, and the surface detail is just great. Smooth where it needs to be, with every mechanical seam crisp and defined. I love this movie. I love this model. And the P1 handled it beautifully.
I love you.
The head was its own separate print, and it fits onto the body perfectly. No sanding, no carving, just precision. The next one is something a bit special. This is a part created by Emish, who spent weeks making this design more and more complex every single day. Eventually, the team over at Send Cut Send accepted it as a challenge to actually machine the thing out of metal. Emish uploaded the step file, and I was able to drop that straight into the Anycubic slicer and print it out. It was really cool to see that the same part Send Cut Send machined out of metal was easily printed in resin on the P1. The supports were definitely plentiful, but with a little bit of time, they were all easily removed, and the final part looks friggin' great. Finally, I wanted to print something designed by me.
Are you serious?
I've been working on these 3D printing nerd coasters in Shaper 3D. Let me show you how I did it. We start with an outer circle at 125 millimeters and an inner circle at 115. Give that outer ring a 5 millimeter extrude for height, and the inner circle slightly less, a 3 millimeter extrude to create the pocket. Now, let's give it some character. I'm adding a 2 millimeter fillet to these two corners just to keep it from feeling like a basic disc. Next, we need the logo. You need a DXF file for this. Don't have one? Just head over to convertio.co. They'll convert your PNG to a DXF for free. Import that DXF into Shaper 3D, scale it so it looks correct, and then move it to the 3 millimeter mark so it's sitting right atop that inner circle. Then we extrude it down 1/2 millimeter to bite right into that surface. Run a Boolean to fuse everything together, export that STL, and you are ready to hit that build plate. I ran these in white and gray ABS-like resin, fitting 5 of each color per build plate. The supports were a breeze to remove, and I'm really happy with how well my idea was executed. Now, I know what you're thinking. They're a little on the large side, but you know what? I'm cool with that. They got presence, they're durable, and they look exactly how I envisioned them. We've gone from a mystery taco holder to a massive iron giant and custom designed coasters, and the consistency across the board has been the standout for me. You're getting that 14K resolution, the heated vat for those cold, hard Seattle winters, and a dual vat system that is just a really neat experiment in workflow. And that's the first look at the Anycubic Photon P1. Thanks for watching. If you made it this far, you're awesome. Don't forget to hug each other more, fight for a cause you believe in, resin print all the things, and as always, high five.